with exceedingly large breast enhancements. On the other hand, their brains were likely the size of a bird's, or smaller. Given I was their opposite, I wondered if Zeppelin possessed the ability to play the role of a man enamored with his new wife. God help me. It wouldn't be as difficult for me. As long as he kept his bloody mouth shut, I could drool over him for days. There was a certain way he levelled his icy blue eyes at me that all but melted my panties. Not to mention his body. Henry Zeppelin Bonham looked like he'd been sculpted from stone. Every bit of him was defined muscle. While six-pack abs were all the rage, I'd counted 8 when I happened to see him shedding his tactical gear after one of our ops in Malta. My cheek still flamed when remembering his smirk when he'd caught me looking. Right now, his brown hair with natural ash-blonde highlights was long enough to sometimes hang in his eyes. More than once I'd caught myself right before reaching up to brush it from his forehead. One word from him, though, never failed to jar me out of my haze of lust. A single syllable was like nails on a chalkboard. Every utterance raised my hackles. "Verity, are you all right?" My neck snapped when I quickly turned my head to face Nemesis, who I hadn't noticed returned to my side. "Of course. Why do you ask?" Her eyes darted to Zeppelin, who stood talking with Magnet. "No reason," I sighed. To be honest, I cannot imagine two people less well-suited for what you've asked of us. Our mutual abhorrence seeps from our pores. "Does it? I hadn't noticed." I raised a brow. Nem leaned forward and spoke in a hushed tone of voice. "Listen to me. This op is one you'll excel at like no one else on any task force in the Coalition. Frankly, I'd fight Typhon tooth and nail if he attempted to pull you exclusively into Unit 23 in advance of this deployment. There's a reason, several actually, why you were tapped for the unit. 1, you're bloody brilliant. 2, and pardon my language, but you're lethal as fuck. 3, no one outside of perhaps Typhon and me knows what else you're capable of. You're literally the second coming of Virginia Robbins." The former chief of disguise at the CIA had retired in the early 90s, but was still considered to be the master of what she called deceptive transformation. She could seemingly change ethnicities on demand. While I didn't profess to have the same level of skill, I did possess the ability to metamorphose myself in such a way that I was nearly unrecognizable even to people who knew me. As for Zeppelin, he is right to say he owns this part of the mission. She continued. He has the power to assign someone in his place, and if he did, I would abide by that decision. However, your assignment is my call to make. He can bloody well live with it. The last part she added under her breath. Would he, though? Would I? Or would one of us kill the other within the op's first few hours?
2. Zeppelin. "You all right, mate?" asked my best friend Magnet, who was abundantly aware of my dislike of the woman I was about to pretend I'd married. "What the fuck is Nemesis thinking?" I muttered after we'd walked several paces away from the others. "Verity has 1 foot out the bloody door, for cripe's sake." He shrugged. "We are working jointly with Unit 23. I glared at him, begrudgingly so. Plus, Nemesis said Typhon agreed to allow Verity to remain on the task force until a replacement could be found. Not quite the way I remember it. I glared at him. "What? That isn't how he phrased it at all. He said, 'Bugger off.' I know what he said." I seethed. Even if I had my druthers and actively sought to replace Verity, there wasn't time. We'd been hunting amps for close to a year, and while we'd taken down 2 people we believed were key players, that they'd died before we could interrogate them had left a trail for the others ice cold. For now, our strongest lead was in following the money, something Verity was damned good at. As much as I abhorred her, her prowess at forensic accounting was undeniable. Magnet motioned with his chin to where my nemesis sat talking with our commander, Nemesis. "Think she's trying to get you taken off the assignment?" "My op," I muttered. "If she wants out, I'll encourage her to ask, but no one is removing me from an investigation."